cause we can't stop. Hear the sound of my money machine. See my brand new Benz, watch the chrome rims gleam. The agent investors will find a home of your dreams. Investing in real estate will have you rolling in green. With the power and the knowledge at our fingertips, we are here to share and help get you rich. Eating fancy dinner, driving expensive whips, working out your brain like chest pressing dips. Stop leaning on the books and the courses you book. The conversations we have cannot be taught. Tune into the podcast with Lewis and Lamore. Our knowledge combined won't sell you short. And I'm out.
Hey, welcome everybody. This is Michael Lamore along with Luis Fernandez. We are Lewis and Lamore with the Agent Investor, and we're checking in with another podcast here. Luis, how you doing, man?
Hey,
how's everything?
Man. Very good, man.
Good. So we've been going along doing a bunch of podcasts recently, and they're going to start getting out there, which is really fun and really cool. And I'm really excited for some of the feedback that's hopefully headed our way. And today we're going to have an old friend in that we know pretty well, who is Bryan Dale. Bryan Dale, why don't you come on down? What's up, bud?
My man.
How are you, man? How's everything?
What's up, brother?
Yeah.
Found it out.
Awesome, man. Nice to see you.
Pleasure to be here, man.
Yeah, very excited.
Yeah,
We've been talking about this for a few months,
For sure, man.
and then we finally got a chance to come through, right?
Absolutely.
Finally.
Yeah. So we met back in December. Got a chance to right?
Yeah, I think it was back in November.
Was it November?
Yeah.
Yeah, before the holidays, we had a couple of adult beverages,
For sure.
right?
Yes,
And caught
we
up
did.
on some. Just a couple. One,
Not
two.
too many. Can't have too many drinks with this guy.
Not me. It was this guy.
It closes at 10 anyway, right?
Yeah, we stopped drinking at 10. Yeah, sure we did. But it was a good time. But,
Yeah.
we want looking forward to doing this podcast with you because I can tell you, for one, since I've actually known you, which hasn't really been that long, I found you to be quite exciting to follow as far as like watching you on Instagram and watching your career grow. And, it looks like you've been in the business for what, like 6 years now? 5
Yeah, I
years?
started at the end of 13, so I think we can say now it's been about 6 years, yeah.
6 years. So
7 years.
Okay.
Seven years.
Right. So 6 years as a realtor, and what did you do before real estate?
I was in the moving business. So I was working at a moving and storage company, and I was doing customer service and rentals, renting out trucks, storage spaces, etc. That was about 36 hours a week. Then I had my own moving business on the side. So I was moving people's stuff on the side. Like I'd get moving jobs through there, through people I knew, through realtors. I'd get moving jobs. So I'd do that, and I was going to school. I didn't really have any type of major or focus or anything. It's really just people were telling me to go to school, right? So I was working full-time moving storage company.
So you're hustling around, people like get in your ear,
Yep.
right?
And I was had my own moving business, and I was going to school.
Got a lot going on in the day.
Yeah, it was about, I think that was like 5 years of my life. So I moved out early. I moved out when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
Right. So it's tough sustaining yourself on a part-time, full-time job, entry level, and going to school. So I did the moving job. So essentially, the way my day would start is about 7 in the morning. A lot of times we'd start the job.
Yeah.
It would be me. I'd get a couple of buddies of mine, or I'd give them something per hour, and we'd start packing up the house, wrapping up furniture.
So you're doing some physical
Physical
work
work.
before
Absolutely.
entering a different lifestyle.
Oh yeah, physical
Yeah.
work. So and so sometimes these jobs would last all day, right?
Yeah.
If it was my off day, I'd be on the job all day. If I was working that day, then a lot of times I would start in the morning, then around maybe 1:30, I'd leave, go into work, leave my guys on the job. Then I'd work up until 8 or 9 at night, get off the job, see what's going on with the moving job.
Yeah.
And it's stressful, man. Moving couches up 6 flights of stairs.
Yeah, I think all three of us have done some. I mean, all
How many guys did you have working with it?
So at any given time, it was between 4 to 6 guys.
So you kind of were building a team without even realizing you were building a team, right?
I was building a moving team, and with moving, teamwork is incredibly important because a lot of pieces of furniture require 2 or 3 people to move. And if you ever move the piano, forget it. That is a complete team.
Did you ever move piano?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Soon enough.
It's a process. It's quite a process. And the hardest thing about operating a moving business is that when a piece of furniture breaks, or you get a parking ticket, it's on you.
So you're responsible for everything. It's
Yeah.
almost like you need insurance.
Yeah. I'd price the job. I'd go over there. I'd price the job, and then I would be responsible for everything.
So did you have to price it including the mistake?
Yeah,
Almost like a little extra.
Not in the beginning, right?
Not in the beginning. I didn't know what the heck was going on in the beginning, right? But I learned that certain areas, especially Manhattan, because we were doing moves in Manhattan, Midtown, you have to price in a parking ticket. No matter, you're always going to get a parking ticket. There's nowhere to put the truck, extra $200 or $300.
So where was it, or how far down the road was it where that transition took place? Because I know, obviously, you know Lewis a lot longer than you know me, and I think did you guys meet at Keller Williams, or did you guys meet before?
No, we met at Cohen's, right?
Right.
Yeah, we met at Keller. So essentially, I got tired of busting my ass. You know, so I let go of school. School I let go of first, right? My day of my finals, 2 years in, I was supposed to take my finals and get an associate's degree.
Wow.
And I didn't go in and take my finals, and I took a moving job. I made like $1,000 instead. So yeah, because I just didn't see any for myself. I didn't see any value in school anymore.
Wow.
So I was doing the moving, and I was doing my job, and it just got really tiring. I almost lost a finger on a treadmill. Somebody had one of those treadmills that you fold up, and long story short, my finger got caught in between, and luckily I got it back. But yeah,
You got your finger back?
yeah, I almost lost a finger. And one of my friends almost had a piano fall on him. So it's things like this is just it made me just not want to do it anymore.
So a certain point of the grinding, the managing, the physical labor, right? There had to be a point where, okay, you venture into real estate, right? You meet Lewis after, or did you enter the business?
It's funny that you talk about that, Mike, right? Because we typically, when we're young, we use physical. Our physical power before we use our mind, right?
It's true.
And we're used to that's our first, job, right?
We think work.
Be physical instead of, working with your mind. And then, it's funny how Bryan's talking about this because that's the trajectory, I guess, of most people, right?
Yeah.
So then you went into real estate, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had to use the physical labor, but there was this realtor that he was actually referring me jobs, but he was doing a lot of business. He was very successful, and I said. It wasn't you. No.
Sorry.
No. Maybe if you were referring me jobs, I would still be moving. Right.
So there was a step before you guys met.
Yeah, there was a step before we met, and I saw that he was doing really well, and he wasn't moving couches up 6 flights of stairs. So I said, you know what? Let me get my real estate license. So I applied to get my real estate license. Got my license. Stopped doing the moving completely.
Wow.
Joined a small mom and pop brokerage where the brokers just said, here are these leads from Zillow.
And this was located where?
This was in the Bronx, in City Island. Okay. Small little brokerage, franchise, small little office.
Gotcha.
And he said, all of these leads are closable. Good luck to you. He didn't teach me how to pre-qualify. He didn't teach me how not to waste my time. So I was working 36, 40 hours a week, showing buyers who, most of them weren't.
You basically did the old Karate Kid, paint the fence first, wax the car, throw it into the wolves, like you're going to figure it out.
Yeah,
right?
Except by the end of my first year, I was ready to quit, and I didn't think it was for me. Then luckily, I hate to say this, but luckily the company went out of business, and I was forced to, because I'm a loyal person. When I'm with somewhere, I didn't want to leave out of loyalty, but I left, and I joined the company that Lewis was with at the time.
So you joined a company without knowing him, or you met him? You joined a company and then you met him.
I joined the company, then I met Lewis.
Gotcha.
And Lewis was the top agent at the time. And
Lewis was the top agent at the time.
Lewis was the top agent.
I can't believe it.
Every year in a row, bro.
I can't believe it.
Every year in a row.
This guy?
Yeah.
Top agent.
Top agent. Oh yeah. He's
an intelligent gentleman.
Yeah, Lewis was the big thing, and he probably made like 2 or 3 times as much money as the second highest agent at the time.
Impressive.
Lewis had a script class every Wednesday morning. He had a class at 8:30 every Wednesday, and I remember going to the first one, and Lewis said, "You better not be late." And like my second one, I was like running. I was like 2 or 3 minutes late. I almost didn't get in because Lewis should shut the door.
But Lewis is a big proponent of discipline.
Yeah, be there on time.
Right, just like he got mad at me last week. We had a meeting and I was accidentally 20 minutes late.
Accidentally 20 minutes.
And we got really mad. He lied to me and says I had to go, and we had to leave, and the whole meeting was over. Right?
So without discipline, you don't have anything, right?
Which I understand. It's important to have discipline.
So essentially, I mean, in joining the new company, now I had somebody to look at because I'm like, okay, who's the top agent? Who do I model myself out? If I want to be successmull, who do I follow?
And what year is this?
This was in 2015. It's going into 16.
So it's like the year you were basically at pretty much at the top of your game. And the same year you when I believe in the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's interesting year.
I spent like a year with you, maybe right?
Yeah, about a year or so. So what I noticed with Lewis and his teams, he was very listing heavy.
Yeah.
Right. Lewis had a team at the time, right? Had a few agents in the team, but he was very listing heavy. Took a lot of listings, and I realized that hey, that's the way to grow if you really want to scale. You scale with listings first.
Yeah.
So I started prospecting. That was something I was never taught to do.
So when you say
before.
prospecting, for maybe some people that are newer in the business,
Calling expired listings.
so doing some cold calling, telemarketing type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I first started, I didn't have any of these fancy systems that they have now. So I would literally go on the multiple listing service, look up the listings that expired. What is their name? Then I'd go to whitepages.com and some of these other websites.
You're doing the manual way.
Look up the homework. Go look up the first name and last name and then the phone number,
about that.
and then I dialed by hand, and that's what I was doing at the time. And
That's what the way we all started.
That's
right?
the way we all
Dial
started.
Dial
No, I remember
down in my hand, right?
Yeah, I definitely remember working that
Facebooking
way.
people and
Yeah, I didn't do the Facebook thing, but I was definitely doing
I was
like with the white pages thing,
Yeah.
right? And then looking up the last name and getting 4 numbers and dialing all 4 manually. Well, today you have like
Believe it or not, it was a good time because nobody else was doing
Nobody
it.
else was doing it. Nobody
Yeah,
else was doing
yeah.
it. So I started doing that in 2015 and started kind of just building up this pipeline. I remember I had really long hair. I had a ponytail. Lewis would always make fun of me. He'd be like, "Cut your freaking ponytail." Yeah, you know.
That's because he didn't have long hair. That's why.
Yeah. So I had long
I
hair.
had more here.
But so I started building up this pipeline. I started taking listings. Eventually, towards the beginning of 16, I was making enough money where I could quit my job and go into real estate full time. And I think the fact that I was working in the afternoon at my job, it kind of forced me to come in the morning. So I'd go to Lewis's script class, and then afterwards I'd be fired up and start hitting.
Yeah, but you were obviously like you were focused and you were all in, right? So
Yeah.
Well, it's funny though, people just get into real estate, don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I wonder what could have happened to you if you would have went to another office where you wouldn't have had lead generation and nobody teaches scripts really. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I could say like
I got stuff.
after spending 13 hours in a day moving heavy furniture, 6 flights upstairs.
Pretty eager to learn.
You picking up a phone and making the calls. It's not so bad. It's not that bad. I think some agents act like it's the end of the world. The hardest call is always the first one.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, like as I sit here and I listen to you, and I've gotten to know you over the last year and a half or so, you were described to me right before I met you as an introvert. Would you agree with that statement?
I think I would have described myself as an introvert a few years ago, but now I would say that the labels are just bullshit. Okay. And I don't think I think that the whole introvert extrovert thing, I think that those are just societal.
Oh, this is a description of you based on, I guess, you were very kind of reserved.
I think anyone can change their personality if they really just put their mind to it and make habit out of it. They can change their personality if you get used to it.
What drives you, right? What drives you will make you do things, right?
Look, I could be productive on my own, but I still like to be around other people. I mean, I just think it depends on the people you're around and the activities you're doing.
No question about it. No question about it. And then, so now you're 2015, 2016, as an introvert. you're meeting people, you're calling people.
Yeah.
Which is not an introvert.
So I'm calling people and built the habit out of starting with the small stuff, the contacts. One book that really helped me was it's a Simon Sinek. I think it was Start with Why? Mm-hmm. It's the one where he talks about the lag measures and the lead measures. That book completely changed my approach to it. When I realized like a lot of agents focus on like sales, contracts, how much money are you making?
Yeah.
That's all stuff that got impacted months ago, right? And then we look at the lead measures, which is like how many hours are you spending on the phone each day? How many people are you speaking to?
Basically, your income activities per day.
Right? I think most agents have a hard time connecting today's activities with the outcome. The result.
I was always one, like when I got into business, I was full-time starting in 2012. And just like Lewis said, like I got in and I thought I was still driving garbage trucks like when I first got into the business, like 2009. I was like, all right, I'm going to do this and then I'll sell some real estate and I'll use the real estate money for like investment money because the whole reason why I got into real estate because I wanted to invest in real estate, right? And then all of a sudden I get licensed, right? And then I'm like, so where's the business coming from? What happens? Like nobody said, all right, here's a list of 10 things to do. Call this person, call your database, call this, call that. And then, finally, just like you, like I finally picked up the phone for the first time. And I gotta be honest with you, I was a disaster nervous. Because I'm a guy who's...
Everybody is.
Yeah, but like
everybody's nervous. I mean,
but coming
you don't
from
know Heineken story, right?
Which story?
You know my Heineken story, right?
The Heineken story?
My Heineken story?
No, what's the Heineken story?
My Heineken story is I started with the company. It was a blue company in Dobbs Ferry, and I didn't know anybody. I had no sphere because I wasn't even born in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, all right, here's your desk, start calling. And I'm like, oh, what the hell do I do, right? Like, try to pick up. Nobody even mentored me, whatever. I went home, make it really quick. My wife was home, and I said, listen, give me a Heineken. She gave me a Heineken. I drank 6 Heinekens. I got drunk, but I didn't call anybody. But the next day I woke up, and I was like, shit, it's me. Right, the alcohol enhanced, me doing things.
Makes you a little more.
And then the next day, I just started calling like a machine, right?
Yeah.
And it was like sometimes there's the things that keep you from doing the things are you, right? You just need alcohol to enhance it. Right?
Yeah, it does bring out your personality a little bit. But the funny part is like both of you guys, like you were always kind of in sales, right?
Yeah.
'Cause you started off actually with flashlights, right?
Yeah.
Really, really old when you're
I
younger.
started flashlights in Roosevelt Avenue.
Right, and then you were in the moving business.
So I was in the moving business. I'm in a moving company.
Yeah.
So I was selling that service.
But you were in the
moving and storage.
in the
I was
routine.
selling box trucks as well.
Right, but you're also in the routine of like that customer service
customer
routine.
service, the
Follow up. So at my day job, did require a good amount of follow up. I mean,
Yeah.
I would be posting listings for box trucks on Craigslist that we were selling, decommissioned U-Haul trucks without the decals, and I was selling those. So that was it was sales. That was kind of like my entry into it. And then I think one thing that helped working and moving in storage is having some really tough conversations because people are stressed out when they're moving. I mean, you wouldn't even imagine. So just imagine somebody that they reserve a truck to rent, right? And they reserved this truck 30, 40 days ago, and they come in and they realize that the truck that's available for them is 10 feet less than the truck that they reserved. People flip.
problem.
They flip. They
Oh, yeah.
flip. They get tough. So I started having to have these early on having these tough conversations with people.
You got to calm down. You got to be a problem solver.
Yeah, problem solver. And then another aspect was storage. Storage is rough because when people don't pay their storage, we auction.
Whoa.
And telling someone you're going to auction off their stuff, it's not a pleasant conversation to have.
No.
So these conversations, asking someone if they want to buy or sell their home compared to, sorry, you're getting a truck half the size you reserved 2 months ago, or sorry, we're going to auction off all your items. It's peanuts.
What was the amount of time you would say between that, like when you really started coming into your own 2015 and learning a little bit from Lewis and your atmosphere, to say now, when you actually reached that period of I'm confident in what I'm doing?
I think it was the point at which I started taking listings. I think 3 months with working with Lewis, you're either going to never want to see him ever again, or you're going to be pretty fired up. Those are the two buckets, right? So I would say after I really started calling, I think about like 4 to 6 months in, I hit my stride. One thing I can say that really changed my life: getting a dialing system. Getting a dialing system where I can call 3 people at a time instead of 1.
See, Lewis makes fun of me all the time because I'm still behind the 8 ball with that, because when we were doing our calls, Lewis and a few other guys are all on 3-line dialers, and I'm still on the 1-line dialer. I'm not ready to go from the 1 to the 3. I just find it very I don't know. It's calling 3 people at the same time is a little nerve-wracking to me.
Well, eventually your time becomes the most important asset to you. So if you're going to be spending time calling 1 person at a time when you can call 3, you do the math.
Yeah. Like how many people did you call yesterday in, was it 8 hours?
No, 6 hours, 1,259 people.
Yeah, I remember I was calling on 6 lines. I was calling on 6 lines last year.
How many people hung up on you?
How many people?
Hung up on you?
I don't even count anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't count.
A lot of
You don't
rejection,
count.
right?
You don't count the rejection. You don't count the rejection.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So dialing mass is like changed my business for sure.
Yeah, I can see that though. So like now, like you've come so far, and I know like you were with your entry company, then you go to Keller Williams
I was with
in
Keller
the
Williams,
Bronx,
yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. And then you left.
Then I left Keller Williams to
go-
join EXP.
Okay.
Then, because at the time, the reason why I left Keller Williams to begin with is, like most other brokers, I wanted to start my own company, right? It's always it's always that always seeps into any realtor that's on a growth trajectory, right?
Yeah.
So, funny story. That's what I wanted to do, and I started looking at commercial space, right? Found this space in the Bronx, which had a bunch of violations, which I didn't know about. But I agreed to do a build out because I was going to get the space for a really cheap
But this is
price.
under EXP, not under like Bryan Dale.
This was
or
as
anything.
I was with Keller Williams still, planning to open up my own brokerage, right? So
An independent brokerage.
an independent brokerage. So I was scouting out space. This is still with Keller Williams. So I found this space, agreed to take it, invested a lot of money into framing it out, about maybe $36,000, $40,000 into framing the whole thing out, electrical and everything. Found out I could not pull permits to finish the space.
Because of the violation.
Because of the violations. Contractor was really great up front, and then it looked like he took another job or something and just stopped putting his attention on it. The landlord didn't have their attention on it. And for me, it was like, what's going on, right?
How much time did it take you?
So
The whole process.
that whole process wasted like a good 6 months of my time.
Yeah.
And,
But in that process,
It's like half your income. Probably half your income, right?
Yeah, a lot of my income. And I got turned off completely from it. So then I learned about EXP from a good friend of mine. And it's a new company, growing company, virtual company.
So cloud-based.
Cloud-based, absolutely. And that was very attractive at the time because it was it created an opportunity to kind of build a team, build your own brokerage out without having any of the liability and the cost.
But then you wound up leaving there. So you went there and then you left there.
I went there and I left there. Why? Because I was under the mindset that I still had to be in a physical office space to have a team. So I joined this virtual company without a virtual mindset. I didn't have that foundation. So
yeah.
I was paying rent. I ended up renting a different office space, right? I wanted to get out of the Keller Williams office where I was at the time.
Yeah.
Just for sure, there were certain reasons that, there were some disagreements.
It's time to go.
It was time to go.
Yeah.
And I ended up renting a space, and I realized that renting a space and being in a virtual company, not very conducive, right? So
Not right either, no.
I got an offer from another office, right? An offer to come on board with a nice office space, which was the office that you were in.
That's how we met.
And that's how we met.
Yes.
So I ended up leaving EXP maybe 3 or 4 months later and joining the office that you're with, right? Started working out of an office, got everything back together.
But you integrated quite well, I got to say. I mean, because I didn't know you. Obviously, I had a relationship with Lewis, so we talk about here and there, and nice things, of course. And I was like, he seems like kind of like a weird dude. He's kind of seems like a weird dude to me, and people say that about me too. And like naturally, when people do come to my office, whether you're somebody with numbers or not, I always reach out to people. It's just a custom in everything I do.
Absolutely, and with Mike at first, when I first met Mike, before I really got to know him, I don't think I really liked him very much.
No, that's a story.
That's kind of normal.
Yeah, I was like, who is this guy? And then, but then I had a few drinks with Mike at.
So I reached out to you.
You reached out to me.
Company.
Yep.
So why don't we go for lunch or something, right? So
yeah, and I was driving. I'm like, oh man, this guy wants to have drinks with me now. Like, oh man. And then I met Mike, and I'm like, yo, this guy's really actually cool, super cool dude.
Hindsight,
super
yeah.
cool dude. So,
you had the worst first impression.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's all right, man. No worries.
got past it.
You make up for it.
Yeah, we're friends now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say that. Yeah.
But it was a good transition for you, right?
Yeah, so I started gaining steam, right? Everything started really rolling. I took on a new team member. We were working out of a nice office space.
That was upstairs.
Yeah,
Right?
took 13 listings the month of March of 2020.
Impressive.
Started hitting my stride, and then boom, COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I'll admit, it really threw me into a slump. It really
Yeah,
did.
it's funny you say that because I think you would say this too, but everybody deals with something the way they choose to deal with it, and a lot of people, they can get really thrown off your track.
It threw me off track completely because, first off, this thing was very new in March, right? We didn't really know about it. What was it?
Yeah.
And, they made cold calling illegal all of a sudden. They stopped allowing showings on listings, and it just threw me into a slump, so I ended up shutting down our office space, going home, staying up till 1 or 2 in the morning watching Netflix, waking up at 12:30 in the
I'm not
afternoon.
gonna lie, some of the downtime, like I didn't, to be honest with you, and Luz knows this, we were just starting to talk about working together a little closer and stuff like that. And you know what? Like when this stuff hit, this whole COVID thing, I was like, I went to the office every day because I was like, you know what? I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna stick my head down and I'm gonna go to the office. And it was great because nobody was allowed in the building and nobody was in the office, so there was really no harm in me going to the office. But I just kept my head down. I was like, I'm gonna keep doing something. Because if I stop and don't do anything, it's really going to hurt us, right? And months down the road, because what we do today, we hopefully get paid 3-4 months down the road, right? So
Well, everybody deals with it in a different way, right?
yeah,
Right. And at the time, Mike was not calling me, offering me drinks at the office, so I had no reason to go in. So I was home, and I was in this slump for about a good month and a half, 2 months. So that was like the end of March all the way through like the beginning of May. Then I said, I got to get out of this. And I got on a group coaching course, right, with a reputable coach. And we did an exercise. And the exercise was write down 100 things that you want on a piece of paper. 100 things that you want. It could be anything.
I did something similar to this, but it wasn't that. It was very similar to it.
Yeah, similar. So
Yeah.
if anyone's done this exercise before, then after about 20 to 30 things that you want, it gets really tough to really, like, you really have to start thinking, okay, I wrote down 30 things that I want. What else do I want? Like, how do I write down 70 more items, right? So it took me like an hour and a half, 2 hours to complete this whole exercise. And then I looked at the paper and I said, well, this is what I want. And what am I doing? Are my actions lined up?
You got to make some decisions.
It was really, for me, it was like, that was the point at which I'm like, okay, got to get my head out of the sand, right?
Yeah.
So in June, started going back into the office, still had that office space, right? Up there at the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my whole team started working back there, but it was never the same again, because it was like one week, it was like, my assistant got exposed to COVID and couldn't come in for 2 weeks, and then
So there's one problem after the other.
and then
so on
another.
and so
It was never at 100% again, and then that's where I drew the line. I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm working from home.
Yeah, and now you're doing good. And then
We're-
you left. You went back to the XP.
He's doing well.
He was doing well.
Yeah, so I
much
left.
better, much better, much gooder. He's doing much gooder.
Yeah, so I started working from home. I started working from home, right? And I've always had this mindset, I can't work from home because I have 3 dogs and I'll get distracted. I always had that mindset, so I've always worked from the office. But at that point, it was like, why am I paying every month for an office space that's not at 100%?
Yeah.
I'm driving a total of an hour each day, back and forth, and I'm paying for gas. So I started working from home. I told the office, don't give it up yet, but I want to try this whole working from home.
So you basically had to make a lot of adjustments and kind of adapt to your times and make the best decisions for you.
Yeah,
at that time.
and then I got used to it,
Yeah.
and I got comfortable with it, and then I started to love it. And then that's where I said, you know what? I'm working from home now.
Yeah, so
Virtual
the
company-
beautiful- The beautiful thing about, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the beautiful thing is that you've learned a lot in a short period of time. And the night we went out a couple months ago, I mean, honestly, we could sit here and talk for hours because there's so much good stuff to talk about. And I really enjoyed the conversation as I did back in November with you guys. But we have to keep this on a timetable. So,
Sure.
So we have a new segment here on the show, and basically we're at the end of it, and we call it 5 and Out. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions,
Okay.
and then we're done.
Perfect.
Now, the first couple of them, softballs.
Okay.
Then it's gonna go a little sideways.
Love it.
All right, you ready? Because a lot of people know about your success and your actions on video because of Instagram. They don't know a lot about you, I don't think. Maybe,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe
So, you
not.
ready? 5 and Out.
5 and Out.
And it might be a bonus question.
Let's do it.
All right, ready?
Ready.
What's your favorite meal?
My favorite meal is, I think it's a burger and fries.
Really? Old
Well
school
done.
American?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Favorite
Oh, yeah.
movie?
My favorite movie, I gotta say, it's probably E.T. has always been my favorite since a
E.T.?
kid. Yeah, I love E.T.
You know what? An introvert, E.T. I kind
I
of get it a
loved
little bit.
E.T.
Yeah.
was
What about you?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Oh,
I'm actually very shocked at this.
Star
That was funny.
Yeah.
What is it? I love Spaceballs, but
close.
I've never seen Star Wars.
Star Wars is the
I'm
best.
embarrassed by that.
The best thing ever.
So I think it's safe to say we're all out of space nerds.
Not me. Not me.
Yep. No, you.
Oh, yeah,
no.
I'm a favorite
Spaceballs.
movie. I'm a Goodfellas guy.
Oh, nice. Love Goodfellas. Yeah.
Right. So, if you had to choose a career outside of real estate, what would it be?
Who? I think if I had to choose a career outside of real estate, I'd probably go into something tech related. Tech related, yeah. And like now, if I can do it all over again, and if I can say, okay, am I going to go to school? I'm 17 years old. I'm about to go to school. I would totally go into school for computer science, and I would learn all coding,
Awesome.
and I would learn that language down to the T. That would be my
That's a future.
that would be my
Right. So, who, in your opinion, is the most attractive female celebrity? It's a tough one.
That's very tough. Whew.
Very tough.
Well,
Pick one.
I think it changes over time.
Your wife won't mind.
It changes over time though, because like back when I was younger.
Now, what about now?
Oh,
Right now.
right now.
Who's the one?
Oh,
Pick one.
okay. I would have to say.
No way. No. Who is it? Who is it?
It's a good
Singer,
question.
actor.
It's a good question.
It's funny when you ask these questions because perhaps I'm not going to answer for you, but in my world, I was focused on that maybe 20 years ago. In my stage of my mindset, I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, you don't, may not
Right?
care. But
It's not
it's
that important, right?
No, definitely not important, but it's a fun question.
Yeah, it's a fun question for sure. I think it progressed over the course of time. Like, you know, when I was younger,
I think I would get stuck in
I
this
was
question,
really into Lindsay Lohan when her prime before her drug addiction.
Yeah.
And then I would say, I stopped thinking about it like a lot.
Yeah, I'm kind of out of it too. All right,
I
let's
think it's
skip
different
out of it.
nowadays.
We'll go to the next one. What is the weirdest scar you have, and how did you get it?
The weirdest scar
Yeah.
that I have. The weirdest scar that I got my appendix out when I was 13, right? So I have that appendix scar. I also have a scar on my eyebrow because when I was a kid, when I was like 7 years old, I kept bothering this guy. This bigger kid.
Kicked your ass?
Bigger kid. Yeah, he slammed. Well, he picked me up and he slammed my head into a table at lunch.
Whoa, that's a good
And my eye opened up and I had to get stitches.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
I have a tons of scar stories.
Yeah. I think I was if I look back, I was deserving of it at the time. Yeah.
All right, bonus question's got nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Do I believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there is a. I think there's a different plane. I think that
Different
we're
plane or planet?
a plane of existence.
Yeah.
That we're on.
Yeah.
We're confined to 5 senses, right?
Yeah.
You see, taste, smell, hear, touch.
Yeah.
Right. But there's other senses out there, other things like we can't see radio waves, right? We
Maybe
can't.
you can.
We can. Maybe I could, right? Right. So we there's certain things we can't see,
Yeah.
but they are real, right?
Yeah.
Like your cell phone, the waves that
you
go
believe,
from.
You believe there are ghosts?
Yeah, yeah, and I think I think they're on a different. I think that they're on a different frequency. They're on a different frequency than we're.
All right, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm very grateful you came in today.
Yeah.
It
Do
was
you believe
awesome.
in ghosts?
I kind of do. Sometimes I hear some like noises and shit, and I'm like, something's
my-
there, but I try to ignore it and act like I don't care when I like
Yeah.
shit my pants.
He gets scared at night when he goes to the bathroom.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
When you're in real estate long enough, and you probably know,
Yeah.
you start to think, even if you're someone who completely didn't believe in ghosts at all, when you're in real estate long enough, you start to question, like, this house have ghosts in it. Especially when you're in an open
I
house.
actually had a
and-
seller.
Haunted.
No, I
Yeah,
actually
haunted
had a
house.
seller
Is house
tell me-
haunted?
A seller
Yeah.
disclosed to me that the house was haunted. I was like, all right, now I'm freaked out. That happened once.
I would have said, okay, well, that's not material fact. Next.
Yeah, I kind of like believed it, and kind of was like,
Yeah,
really-
I think the whole. So I believe in ghosts, but I think the whole. Oh, I'm scared of the ghosts. It's like I think that's a little.
Little much.
Like, what's a ghost going to do to you? It can't
don't know.
materialize and push you down
I
the
don't
front
know,
stairs.
but I didn't get to half of the questions I wanted to ask you, but it's all good. Can always have you back.
Hey.
And this is Bryan Dale with eXp Realty. Great friend, great realtor. Highly recommend him if you're not going to use me or Lewis. But thanks for coming on the show. This is the Agent Investor with Lewis and Lamore.
Yeah, we won't stop, cause we can't stop. Hear the sound of my money machine. See my brand new Benz, watch the chrome rims gleam. The agent investors will find a home of your dreams. Investing in real estate will have you rolling in green. With the power and the knowledge at our fingertips, we are here to share and help get you rich. Eating fancy dinner, driving expensive whips, working out your brain like chest pressing dips. Stop leaning on the books and the courses you book. The conversations we have cannot be taught. Tune into the podcast with Lewis and Lamore. Our knowledge combined won't sell you